The Trojan War was a legendary conflict in Greek mythology that took place around the 12th or 13th century BC. The war was waged by the Achaeans, Greeks, against the city of Troy after Paris of Troy took Helen from her husband Menelaus, king of Sparta. The war took the 10 years of decade from 1194 to 1184 BC. In this war we discuss about 3 types of kingdoms, 1 Greeks, 2 Trojans, 3 gods. The fight for a Troy castle. The castle was built by sea god Poseidon and sun god Apollo. The castle ruled by Priam and Hecuba. They both have 62 children, in that 50 are sons and 12 are daughters. Mainly the story is run between 4 sons from their children. They are 1. Hector, a great warrior, 2. Cassandra, 3. Troilus. For Paris, before the birth of Paris, the Cassandra has got a vision. If the Paris has been birthed, he will become the reason for the destroy of this Troy family. So Princess Hecuba secretly gave a birth to Paris. She gave that child to one human to take the child and grow him as your child. According to Greek mythology, Zeus had become king of the gods by overthrowing his father Cronus. Zeus was not faithful to his wife and sister Hera, and had many relationships from which many children were born. When Zeus fell in love with a Thetis, as the prophecy stated, that a son of the sea nymph Thetis, with whom Zeus fell in love after gazing upon her in the oceans off the Greek coast, would become greater than his father for one or both of these reasons, either upon Zeus's order or because she wished to please Hera, who had raised her. Thetis was betrothed to an elderly human king, Peleus. The Trojan War was a legendary conflict in Greek mythology that took place around the 12th or 13th century BC. The war was waged by the Achaeans, Greeks, against the city of Troy after Paris of Troy took Helen from her husband Menelaus, king of Sparta. The war took the 10 years of decade from 1194 to 1184 BC. In this war we discuss about 3 types of kingdoms, 1 Greeks, 2 Trojans, 3 gods. The fight for a Troy castle. The castle was built by sea god Poseidon and sun god Apollo. The castle ruled by Priam and Hecuba. They both have 62 children, in that 50 are sons and 12 are daughters. Mainly the story is run between 4 sons from their children. They are 1. Hector, a great warrior, 2. Cassandra, 3. Troilus. For Paris, before the birth of Paris, the Cassandra has got a vision. If the Paris has been birthed, he will become the reason for the destroy of this Troy family. So Princess Hecuba secretly gave a birth to Paris. She gave that child to one human to take the child and grow him as your child. According to Greek mythology, Zeus had become king of the gods by overthrowing his father Cronus. Zeus was not faithful to his wife and sister Hera, and had many relationships from which many children were born. When Zeus fell in love with a Thetis, as the prophecy stated, that a son of the sea nymph Thetis, with whom Zeus fell in love after gazing upon her in the oceans off the Greek coast, would become greater than his father for one or both of these reasons, either upon Zeus's order or because she wished to please Hera, who had raised her. Thetis was betrothed to an elderly human king, Peleus. All of the gods were invited to Peleus and Thetis's wedding and brought many gifts except Eris, who was stopped at the door by Hermes, on Zeus's order. Insulted, she threw from the door a gift of her own, a golden apple. The apple was claimed by Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. They quarreled bitterly over it, and none of the other gods would venture an opinion favoring one, for fear of earning the enmity of the other 2. Eventually, Zeus ordered Hermes to lead the 3 goddesses to Paris. Athena offered Paris wisdom, skill in battle, and the abilities of the greatest warriors. Hera offered him political power and control of all of Asia, and Aphrodite offered him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen of Sparta. Paris awarded the apple to Aphrodite. Peleus and Thetis bore a son, whom they named Achilles. It was foretold that he would either die of old age after an uneventful life, or die young in a battlefield and gain immortality through poetry. Furthermore, when Achilles was 9 years old, Calchas had prophesied that Troy could not again fall without his help. A number of sources credit Thetis with attempting to make Achilles immortal. When he was an infant, some of these state that she held him over fire every night to burn away his mortal parts and rubbed him with ambrosia during the day. But Peleus had discovered her actions and stopped her. The most beautiful woman in the world was Helen, one of the daughters of Tyndareus, king of Sparta. Her mother was Leda. Helen had scores of suitors, and her father was unwilling to choose one for fear the others would retaliate violently. Finally, one of the suitors, Odysseus of Ithaca, proposed a plan to solve the dilemma in exchange for Tyndareus's support of his own suit towards Penelope. He suggested that Tyndareus require all of Helen's suitors to promise that they would defend the marriage of Helen, regardless of whom he chose Agamemnon. Agamemnon was a great leader. Menelaus is brother of Agamemnon, and Ajax. Ajax is a great political leader and masterminder. They also participated to marry the Helian. Menelaus inherited Tyndareus's throne of Sparta with Helen as his queen when her brothers, Castor and Pollux, became gods, and when Agamemnon married Helen's sister Clytemnestra and took back the throne of Mycenae. Paris, under the guise of a supposed diplomatic mission, went to Sparta. The storm caused the lovers to stray into Phoenicia and Cyprus, before they were able to resume their course and arrive to Troy, where they married. In meantime, Helen fell in love with Paris and decided to elope with him. When Paris came to Sparta, Palsy then Hecuba recognized that Paris is his son, so she agreed to marry a Helian, and his brother Hector also support him. But his sister Cassandra say that if you marry Helian, there is the reason for the war. No one listened to Cassandra words. After that, the Menelaus returned to Sparta. He knows that his wife was fell in love Paris, so the Menelaus think to get back his wife from Paris. So Menelaus then asked Agamemnon to help him enforce the oath of Helen's suitors, which was to defend her marriage. Regardless of which suitor was chosen, Agamemnon agreed, and sent emissaries to all the Achaean kings and princes to call them to observe their oath and retrieve Helen. Nestor, king of Polis, joined with Menelaus, and also Palamedes also joined. Since Menelaus's wedding, Odysseus had married Penelope and fathered a son, Telemachus. In order to avoid the war, he feigned madness and sowed his fields with salt. Palamedes outwitted him by placing Telemachus, then an infant, in front of the plow's path. Odysseus turned aside, unwilling to kill his son, so revealing his sanity and forcing him to join the war. According to Homer, however, Odysseus supported the military adventure from the beginning, and traveled the region with Pylos' king, Nestor, to recruit forces. They went to Argos for Diomedes to join war with them. After that they went for Achilles for ask him to join a battle. The Achilles was a son of Peleus and Thetis. The Thetis, she was a water god, so she this that his about his son to gave a immortality, so the use his power and create a lake if the Achilles was get into that water, then he become a immortality. When he was a child, his mother Thetis dip him into a water. She dip his upper part of body only so, and weapon has hit his upper body. He doesn't get any damage. After that the Achilles also joined the battle with his subordinate Patroclus from the god's side. The Athena Hera and sea god of Poseidon also support to the Greek side. All they combined their force and went to a Troy for a battle. From this Troy side, the Hector, Aeneas son of Aphidesis, and the Zeus son of Sapodon and Glaucus, and from the Amazon the Penthesilea, a lady warrior, also joined with them, and from the god side the god Apollo and the god Aphrodite also joined with Trojans. The Greek and Troys were fight up to 8 years. Until now they cannot destroy the Troy castle wall because of the castle was built with a huge rocks and too long, as much as a Gans height. So the Greeks thought that we cannot defecting that castle, so first we fight thr battle under the Troy's rules, and finally we occupy the Troy castle. So the Achilles went to the battle under the Troy rules. So May Kings was afraid of the Achilles' war skills. After defeating the some places, the Achilles and Agamemnon was make a slave of girls named as Chrysis and Briseis. The Achilles choose Briseis to make a slave, and Agamemnon choose Chrysis due to the relatives of Apollo god. The Agamemnon leave the Chrysis. Agamemnon felt badly. He tried to make a slave of Briseis, and the Briseis was chosen bt Achilles. Due to this the Achilles got angry and fight with Agamemnon, and this condition as a reason the Achilles left the war. The Hector knows that the Achilles left the war. Then the Hector with soldiers make a fight with Greeks. Due to absence of Achilles the army was getting weak, so the Patroclus friend of Achilles has take a armory of Achilles and fight in the battle. All the Troy members are getting afraid when they see how the Achilles has been in war. After some time the fight between the Hector and a Patroclus. Hector defect the Patroclus and he remove the armor, and he gets shock. He see the Patroclus in the Achilles armor. After this message was received his friend was dead. The Achilles came to battlefield and start the war and defeat the Hector and kill him. After that the Paris and Melanus was fight each other, and the Melanus was defet the Paris. Achilles went to defet the Troy castle, and he is trying to defet, and the Troy knows the secret of Achilles. He has a immortality on the upper part of body, so they aim for Achilles' legs and defect him. All the Greeks were shocked. Due to death of Achilles, he is a great warrior, so many attempts the no one defecting the Troy castle. Then the Odysseus has make a plan to build a large huge horse, where anyone see that horse statue they fell for that statue. And the Odysseus and some army has went into the horse stomach and tell that place the horse near the entry of Troy castle. When the morning the Troy people see the horse in front of Troy castle, they take that horse into the Troy castle. After the horse entry into the castle, the Odysseus and all the army came out from the horse stomach and fight with the Troys and defect all the Troys and make a battle win.